Jackie Kashian, Laurie Kilmartin.
Come on, here we are. It's the Jackie and Laurie show. The Jackie and Laurie show. That's not how the song goes at all. I never listened to it. Music is my life. Hi, guys. Hi, how are
My God, what an onslaught of misdirections. I'm fine, Jacqueline. How are you? What do you got coming up?
Well, we're going to Moon Tower. We're going to Moon Tower. It's a comedy festival in Austin, Texas. We will be doing a live Jackie and Laurie show on Friday at 6 p.m. Friday afternoon at something called Higbee's or something like that.
Okay.
And I think it's like $20 to get in. I will hold your baby. Fucking come to this thing. I don't know how to get people to come to a festival live podcast. Do you?
Well, why don't we add that we are going to be doing our podcast with Janine Garofalo? Why don't we add that?
Famous people will be there.
Yes.
Us, and then also Janine Garofalo, who's been famous for most of her life.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Janine Garofalo movie? I liked Romeo and Michelle. I
like Romeo and Michelle. I thought she was great in Reality Bites. I liked Copland. I don't know that I've seen many more than that, like off the top of my head. But I should know her discography before. This is why we don't have guests. We got to look shit up. Come on, man.
Looking shit up. Noted.
Yeah, do come out to that. I think it'll be really fun. We are all almost exactly the same age. We've had very different experiences in comedy, the three of us, but we started at around the same time. She's like a year older than us. There's not many of us. And three of us are going to be
three of us
in the same room.
So come and check out that thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and so then you could check the schedule at moontower.org, I believe it is, or moontower.com. I bet you it's a .com. I bet you it's not a
nonprofit. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to be selling these tickets so hard, Jackie.
Good point. Yes. So it is austintheater.org. I think moontower.org sends you to the Moon Tower Comedy Festival, which is at austintheater.org. And then you can look up under comics and you can see like where I'm playing. You can see wherever all the comics that are coming. This is going to be the greatest comedy brunch in the world if I can do it.
It'll be pretty massive. There's a ton of people there.
J-Fab's going to be there, right?
Oh, wow. It's part of the elements of the chat or one of our chats.
Right. Jackie Fabulous is going to be there. Dana Gould, of course, going to be there. Dulce Sloan's coming in hot.
Nice.
Emma Willman. She's been an Ever Maynard. And cool. Fortune's going to be there. Fortune Feemster. I'm just going to just keep
Jackie,
going.
You don't have to read the whole list. We just want them to come to our show and then leave. That's it.
It's going to be me, you, Janine Garofalo. But if you go to the comics page and you click on Laurie Kilmartin or click on myself, you will see the other places where we're just doing straight stand-up. So
right, exactly.
Yeah, I'm opening for Marie a couple of times. Janelle James going to be there. This is going to be a hell of a lineup. But
what size font are we compared to, say, Janelle or
same font?
Ginny.
Same font.
Oh,
and
okay,
right, because not a poster. This is the website where you scroll down and everybody gets the same size photo and the same and our names are by first names, because I don't know if people know this about club owners. They're not geniuses. They think they sometimes file things under the.
Well, I don't see club owners scrolling through to check out comedians they want to see. That's not how I visualize club owners. But aren't they in the back counting beers and seeing who took an extra sip and wasn't and what comic got half off? Yeah,
yep. Yeah,
that shouldn't have.
Right.
But
did you order the steak or did you order the chicken? You get a free meal. I'm going to want you to order the chicken. Okay.
Chicken. There's no meat on the free meals. It's nachos.
And taquitos. A frozen taquito.
Yes. Well, anyway, so
we're
doing that.
After that.
Then I'm in LA for a little bit. I got a little thing going.
That's it.
So I'm going to be in LA for a bit, but I do have some road work too that I'm still going to keep. I'm going to be in at Deadwood, South Dakota, May 10th. for the Martha Canary Festival. And then I'll be at Grand Rapids at very end of June, 28th, 29th, I think. And
Dr.
then
Grins,
13th, 14th of June, I'll be at Stir Crazy. And then, we'll
Phoenix.
take it from there. And then I'll
Mhm.
be in LA a lot and New York upon occasion. I just have to organize that.
Right. So I'm doing a couple of Maria runs where I'm opening for Maria. Next week promises to be a logistical nightmare because we're doing 2 dates in Colorado, and then we're going to Des Moines, and then we're going to Missouri. So, yeah.
What are the
And
Colorado dates?
the Colorado, I think it's like 23, 24. We're doing outside of Aspen and then outside of Denver. And then we're
Oh.
supposed to drive from outside of Aspen to outside of Denver. And I am willing to give anyone $1,000 so that I don't have to drive from outside of Aspen to outside of Denver. I'm willing to drive within the Denver area. I can't look over a
It's a
mountain.
daytime drive.
Yeah. The Telluride thing is actually, I genuinely think it's fucked me up for good.
I see.
But I will continue to fight the good fight. I was driving back. I drove to the gig. Wait, I'll finish this first. We're doing that.
What story are you on?
I'm on the story of what gigs I'm doing.
Okay.
So in May, I'm doing an East Coast run with Maria too, but that's middle of the month. I believe starts around the it starts around the 11th of May, and we're doing like South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. And I'm also doing a synagogue in Minneapolis, in St. Paul or Mendota Heights or
Wait,
something
did
like
Darla
that.
hook you up with that one?
It's her synagogue. Yes, on May 18th. It's a benefit, and then I'm doing that crazy that it'll be that Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina run, dropping me off in Minneapolis on the 18th. And then the following weekend, my niece gets married again, Minneapolis, gonna come home, gonna come back. And then I'm coming back because I'm doing a Minneapolis run with Maria at Rochester, Minnesota, Eau Claire, and Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Wow.
And then I'm coming, and then I'm actually, nope, gonna go home again from the look of it. Oh my God. All right. And then I'm going to fly on June 7th back to Milwaukee because I'm doing Acme the second week of June. Tickets are for sale already. Please buy tickets for my Minneapolis show at Acme. I believe it starts the 11th of June, goes through the 14th. I'd like to be one of those home club comics that sells out my home club.
Seriously.
This is a dream that I have. I'm doing several various improvs with Maria in June, and then like Livermore and Irvine.
Oh, a winery in Livermore?
No, I think it's an improv.
There's not an improv in Livermore, California?
Yeah. Is there not?
No.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna look that up. That
You're like, is there?
I won't stand for that.
You won't stand for it. And then in July,
No.
I'm doing Ann Arbor, Michigan. And then for our birthday,
Yeah.
I'm going to England.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And I get there the day after the Cool Kid show in London. Old Rope, gonna miss it.
Oh, Tiff's show?
Yeah,
Bummer.
Tiff Stevenson. Yep. Gonna miss it. And I'm in Ann Arbor the day before, so I have to fly back to Minneapolis to Los Angeles, pick up Andy, and fly to London. Can't do it separately. The tickets, I used a bunch of points. Yeah.
Right. Well, your life sounds like a living hell, and thanks for describing it to me.
Well, you will be, I will say this, and let me quote Carmen Morales when I was telling her how great the hotels that the one-nighter run that I did in NorCal,
Ooh.
how well that went. They put me in the nicest places. And Carmen Morales said to me, you know how usually with one-nighters especially, they're like they're storing you somewhere? It's not like a real hotel. It's just
Yeah,
a
right.
storage unit.
Yeah,
So I did Mill Valley,
right.
which has a very sweet hotel always.
Yes. How was
That
the
thing.
show?
Well, the show was fine. The show was super fun. Remember Dan St. Paul?
Yes.
So Dan, did I tell you that my favorite joke of the week was Dan St. Paul's?
Oh, no, you didn't.
Dan St. Paul had a joke because Dan St. Paul is 73 years old.
That's wild.
And he does cruises. And he's like,
Okay.
because the thing about stand-up comics is we don't really retire. What we do is we call ourselves semi-retired, and then we take as much work as we're offered. And then we can say that we're semi-retired because nobody's offering us work because we're 73 years old in his case. So
Well, Lewis Black actually is retiring at age 70. Like he's done. He announced it.
interesting. How long do you
Yeah.
think that'll last?
I
6
don't
months.
know.
I give it 6 months.
Sounds like he's done. Sounds like he's tired
He-
and he just wants to play golf. That guy's a golfer. He
Right,
probably
right.
just wants to play golf where he lives.
And not that Kathleen Madigan doesn't want to golf with him. But I think that everyone I know that has retired 6 months later is like, what is there to do?
Oh,
Like everyone I think
don't
just wants to
yeah,
lie down for 6 months. I
I
genuinely
know.
believe that.
I do feel like the lockdown made people go, "Oh, comics go, I can be happy without doing stand-up comedy."
Right.
A
We're
little bit.
grinding it out.
There are
Yeah.
all these other little things to do that are satisfying.
Mhm.
But yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's also like when you don't move to LA or New York and you stay in your city, that's going to limit your options road-wise. You know what I mean?
Right. Dan St. Paul lives about 10 minutes from Mill Valley.
Mhm.
He says that he does probably 15 weeks of cruise ships a year, and he will not
That's
do
not bad.
family. He won't do family cruises. He turns
Okay.
them down.
Okay.
He will only do old people cruises. He said, "They love me, I get them, and my jokes destroy."
Well, sounds good to me.
Sounds great to me. Like the
You
fact
know?
that he knows what he wants and he's doing
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and he likes it. He looks
Yeah.
good too. He actually looks really good and
He's
healthy
always a
and
healthy guy and nimble.
yeah,
He always reminded me he had like a
nimble.
dancer's sort of nimbleness to him when he stepped up on stage, in my opinion. I don't know if he still does. I haven't seen him in a long
He
time.
hosted. He hosted. I hadn't seen him in 20 years. I, of course, did not recognize him. I can't tell a walnut from a pecan. How am I supposed to recognize humans? Anyway, so
He was in a he and Sue Murphy, who was a phenomenal comedian and then ended up being head
great.
writer at Chelsea Handler's show for a long
Right.
time. And then I don't know what she's doing now, but
Right.
she was like a brutal beast of a headliner.
Killer.
But before that, they were a team. They were a team act for a while. Murphy St. Paul.
Oh, that's right. Well, when he told me his name, I was like, Dan St. Paul, because I featured for him in like
Oh.
95 or 92.
Oh, nice.
And I said, "Did you used to have like a signature bit of a baseball?" And he said, "I sure did." And so I didn't remember what his face looked like, but I remember his
Yeah.
act.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool.
He did an amazing joke that I will tell you offline. If you get a chance to see Dan St. Paul, he's got a great joke.
Cool.
He's got more than one, but
Yeah.
he's got my favorite. I usually have a favorite joke of the week. So
Oh, you do? This is in 9 years of podcasting with you. This is the first I've heard of it, but this is a
Sort of
weekly
like-
thing for you that you haven't mentioned to me in 9
well,
years.
it doesn't change every week. For a long time, my favorite joke was, I think, Dennis Regan's shark joke
Okay.
about going swimming, and he saw a shark, and he said, "There's no music." That's a funny joke. That's a very
Yeah.
funny joke, and he's
Right.
been doing. I think that's on an album, so that's why I don't feel okay telling the Dan St. Paul joke because I don't think it's on an album yet.
Gotcha.
I don't want to burn his material, man.
Sure. Who else is on the bill?
I sent you a picture of the lineup.
You did send me a picture.
There was a guy named Rob, and then there was a guy named Ron, and then there was another guy. It was a lot of
come on.
guys. I was the only woman.
That'll happen in this business, Jackie. Did you text
What-
it
wait.
to me?
I did text it
Because
to
I
you.
did know other names there.
It was a lot of it. But it was I closed, and who was it? There was a young man who opens for Leno a bunch, and there it is. Roman Spinall or
I don't know
Spinale?
him, but who else was there?
It was Dan St. Paul, Robert Barry,
Yes.
Bob Rubin.
Yes. Bob Rubin. The Rubes. Bob Rubin.
Everyone
The
was like,
Rubes.
you got to go in and see Bob Rubin.
Was
And
what's his
it
hair
was
like?
his birthday.
Was his hair pretty wild?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
always has had just a massive head of hair,
It
and
was
then
his 65th birthday last
he went
Tuesday.
gray, and it's still massive. Incredible.
It's a lot of hair, and it's big.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of jokes where he's like, this isn't what it's gonna be. And then he describes at length what it isn't gonna be. And that's funny. It's quite funny.
Yeah, he's great. He when I was coming up, he and Bobcat were really good friends, and they were sort of Bobcat and Warren Thomas kind of, and Sue Murphy and Johnny Steele were like the big headliners in San Francisco. And
All right.
they
He
just
was
kind
doing
of
the punchline on the
ran the
Wednesday
room.
after.
And
Because I had the Wednesday off, yeah.
They did Alex Bennett's show all the time. And yeah, Ruben's great. That's cool. I'm glad
They
he was
all
there.
said hi to you. That's what you
Aw,
should know. I
that's
invoked
nice.
your name. Whenever I'm anywhere near Walnut Creek or the Bay Area, I invoke your name. And
then
it's
Mick
always well
Berry,
received.
you say Michael, but it's Mick Berry. But does he?
No, it's Robert Berry. He was
I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, he's a younger guy.
Okay, never mind.
There was Bob Rubin, Robert Berry, and a guy named Roman Spinale, who opens for Leno occasionally and is moving down to LA. And I got off stage and he said to me, like, you just did regular stand-up, like a headline set. And I was like, well, I'm doing 30 minutes. I think the audience deserves 30 minutes of jokes after sitting through a bunch of 10s and 8s, right? Like, I'm not going to do 30 minutes like I would do a 10.
What did he mean by headline material? I don't understand.
Like a headliner set in the fact that I just did, I wasn't working on
new shit.
anything.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, but I was actually working on a new bit, but it was perfectly couched in a way that I could get the hell out of it when there wasn't an end to it, which there isn't.
Well, also, it must have appeared as old material because you did
That's
it so
right.
well.
To the young man. Yes, indeed. But Dan St. Paul hosted. He did a nice job.
Okay, and then what's next? That was Mill Valley. That's Tuesday.
That was Mill Valley. That was Tuesday. Hotel was real nice. And you ever get a chance to go to Mill Valley? You knock yourselves out and you stay at the Mill Valley Inn.
Did
you get to stare at some redwoods? Yeah.
Yeah. Did you walk a little bit? There's a park a little bit. If you go left out of the hotel, there's a park like maybe 10
go
minutes
uphill?
up.
Absolutely not.
It's just a little grade. It's not like a 1% grade, Jackie. It's not up.
No, I actually did go up there because there's a new noodle shop. I usually go to the Punjabi burrito place right around the corner, which is an Indian burrito place. But this time I went to the noodle shop and had noodles.
Did you go to the bookstore?
I did go to the bookstore, and
I like it. I love that bookstore.
It's a nice bookstore. There's also like a little weird tchotchke store. In the last 25 years of me doing that gig, the people have gotten older, and then new people have gotten old. It's just another generation of genuinely old people.
When I went to the park, there were children, and I was like, wow, this is shocking. I've never seen children here. So that was exciting. I'm excited for the new generation of children. And
they're coming up.
You were in
Piedmont, but after that, I went to Hayward, and then they put me up 2 nights in Berkeley.
Okay.
Because it's central-ish. And so I go to Berkeley. It's one of those Hilton properties that's also a Graduate. So all the key cards they look like university. They look like ID cards, but with people who graduated from there. So people who graduated from
Cal.
Yeah, from Berkeley, UC Berkeley, and it was super walkable. My nephew came. My great nephew is a petri dish and had some sort of cold, and so he stayed home with his mom. And I was like, "Good, don't bring me anywhere near a 3-year-old with a cold. That's gonna kill us all." So, my nephew Sam and I, we went to dinner at the hotel. Uh, so I had 2 nights there where I could just wander and have a good time. The guy picked me up, drove me to the gig in Petaluma.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you have to pay for parking at the hotel, or was that
nope,
covered?
like it was covered.
Nice.
It's just, it was such a relief. You know what, the 3 guys who run this gig, they're
Mhm.
all on the road featuring.
Okay.
So they know what it's like to be treated poorly.
Yeah, right.
So they're like, we're going to put people up at a normal hotel and we're going to cover it. So
Sweet.
the next night I went, was in Hayward,
Mhm.
and and my hotel was 2 nights in Sacramento. And so if you do this gig, I would say do 3 nights in Berkeley and then just drive to Sacramento,
Mhm.
because drive down to Hayward back up to Berkeley is just a 20-minute drive.
Right.
Sacramento and then to Hayward
Awful.
on a Friday or Saturday
No.
is 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that. What I did was I just took, you know what I did? I took streets instead of highway from Berkeley to Hayward, and I called Moshe Kasher and left him a message and said, I think I'm somewhere where you were raised in Oakland. I see a lot of razor wire. Remember he wrote that book?
Mhm. I didn't
And
read it, but I do remember that he wrote it.
I skimmed it. It was good. And and then so I go to Hayward. It's a tattoo shop, a tattoo parlor. Sold out, by the way. I sold out all 3 shows
Nice.
and did better. They said that I'm the best the best numbers that they've had so far.
Cool.
Like James Adomian is next month, and Eddie Papatone was last month. So, and Derek Sheen's done it. So I think I'm the first woman. They had great openers. They all did sets,
Yeah.
various amounts, but just 10s.
Yeah.
And then they brought in another. They usually brought in, or they did bring in, one other woman on every show, which is good. And then so the Hayward, I almost got a tattoo. I almost got the tattoo.
Oh my God, Jackie. Wow.
He put it on my foot. Like he burned the thing on the and then he transferred it to my foot, and he's like, I'll just hold your foot in a vice, and I'll just I'll draw, because I just want Andy, right? I just want like the Toy Story Andy thing on my foot.
Yes, I saw that. That was the foot that you put in the chat. That was
Yes,
your
that was the picture.
the
Yes,
tattoo. It would have been a tattoo if
it
you
would have been a
over it.
tattoo. Yes,
Cute.
and it would have been adorable. And I chickened out, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna chicken out. And he said, well, it would have been badass, but it also would have been excruciating.
Yeah, so on the bottom of your foot, and you still have to walk places, Jackie.
Well, that's why, because it takes.
Yeah.
I said, how long does it take to heal? He said, about 2 weeks. And I said, can we do it on the left foot? He said, well, Woody it's on his right foot. And I was like, well, I have to drive tomorrow.
Jackie, no one's
And
gonna double check the bottom of your foot with up against fucking Toy Story, a 45-year-old movie.
it turns out a 40-year-old guy named Pancho has a vested interest in authenticity. So so I didn't get it, but he was so nice. This place called Sims Inc., and his name's Pancho. And if you're ever in Hayward, you knock yourself out. You get yourself a tattoo. And then the last night was in Sacramento. So after the Hayward show, I had to drive to Sacramento, hour 15. Bit of a drag, but I got it. The guy, Ethan, one of the bookers, and who's also a young comic, he had organized. He said, she's going to be late. And he said, you just valet park. We'll cover it. And so I get and he's like, and breakfast is also covered. I bought the breakfast package.
Wow.
Yeah. So the only hotel art, by the way, in the Sacramento, I was on like 10th and J at a very nice Marriott. I get up there. The only hotel art are 2 political cartoons from 1974. Because Sacramento's the capital, right?
Mm-hmm.
The show itself is in Old Sac. The grossest
Oh!
name of anything, right?
No, it's so where was it? You know, there is a comedy club there, and there used to be the previous version of that club, Laughs Unlimited, was like one of the best rooms ever. It had a low ceiling, it was a little underground, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I think I was there after that.
Mm-hmm.
I headlined once and I featured twice. One time I featured when it was long.
Yeah.
When they have since turned it so it's super wide.
Okay.
When it was long, the first time I featured there was for an up close magician. That's not going to work.
God.
It's not going to work with a long room.
Right.
And there's no coffee. The entire city has kites and fudge and taffy, and not a bookstore
Old
or
Sac?
a coffee shop. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like an old town, and it's for kids. It's
And
not for grown-ups.
And it is not for kids. It is it's for drunken parents and their children, because there was old timey cars,
Mhm.
like, and the room is a photography studio. That's where I played.
Okay.
Sold out, 85, 90 people. They're not big rooms that I sold out,
Yeah.
but I did sell them out. I did get the bump, and so the but the cars would drive by blaring music and you could hear it. And one of my favorite things is when a really loud car drives by and I could yell, "I love this song. Thanks so much," for these 4 seconds
Mhm.
of whatever hip hop or Spanish song that's floating
Mhm.
by. And I sold merch and it was nice. The audiences were amazing. The gigs were fun. I ended up making good money
Cool.
for the week because I got bumps. They added a second show on Saturday because of the sellout. That was an error. Ethan was like, wouldn't wish I could go back in time, wouldn't have done it. And he, as a matter of fact, chose not to go up.
Oh, all right.
And I said, "How about I do 40?" He said, "There's 3 people that are really psyched to see you." And I was like, "I will do 45.
Wow.
And there was the owner of the building. Her daughter was 11, and she was there. And there was only like a dozen people in the room, and the 11-year-old was in the second row. And I closed my set with 3 dick jokes, and I refused to do the last one. And I got off stage, and the woman goes, "She's been to 5 burners, man." And the 11-year-old goes, "Burning Man, I've been to a lot of them." And I said, "That's not my fault."
Well, that sounds like a fun little week. It sounds
It was
more fun than
so-
I thought it was going to be when you described
Right.
it to me.
Right. It was relaxing is the only thing. There is so much value in putting me in a nice hotel.
I know.
There, you can just pay me normal.
Yeah.
You don't have
Right,
to
right,
overpay me. Just put me in a nice hotel and I will perform at your comedy venue. And we'll talk about it doesn't have to be. Yeah.
Well, Jackie,
How was yours?
so Thursday night, at my first gig Friday night in Findlay, Ohio,
Right.
which loves America. That town loves America. A lot of flags.
What
in
version?
Findlay.
Oh, okay. The flag version. Okay.
Yes. And they love Jesus. Huge Jesus sign when I came in. Jesus and flags. And so I flew in on Thursday, got to Columbus, flew into Columbus, right?
Yeah.
And I stayed in a hotel called True by Hilton. Have you heard of it?
I've stayed at a True.
They're not bad.
I don't mind the true.
They have a vinyl flooring. There's no carpet. You're not stepping on, someone's God knows what from last week, right?
It's been mopped. It's been Swiffered.
It's been
You can
mopped. It's
find things. Yeah.
It's a little bare bones, but not like they have a breakfast, no fruit, but they do have
That
a
sounds-
good selection of stuff that they're selling, during the
Right.
day. Every True seems to have a pool table, which is in constant use 24 hours a day. I'm like, I've never seen a more popular feature at a hotel than the True by Hilton pool tables. Every time I'd walk in, there's at least three people playing pool. Crazy.
Wow, 3-person pool.
At least. Minimum. Someone hanging around, whatever.
It's a weird
Decent gym.
variation. Okay.
Decent gym. Had some cool little, things to play with, little medicine balls and kettlebells. It's modern. It's a modern gym. Had a little ballet bar so you could throw your leg up and see if you're flexible or not, etc.
Okay.
The bed, the left side of the bed did not have any outlets next to it, and the right side had 2 outlets. Like they're real sparse on the outlets. Like only if you're a couple, only one of you is allowed to plug your phone in.
Yeah. Yeah, one
I'm
of
not
you
a
has
couple,
to be
but
okay.
I still like to. I was like,
Yeah,
that was shocking.
I do
to
check
me.
both. And
I like my outlets. So I stay there for the night, and then the next I'm going to be in Columbus another night, but it's a different hotel.
Oh.
Because somebody was saving money, not me. I'm like, all right, fine. But that's okay. I have plans anyway. So
Sure.
Friday morning I wake up and I go to the airport, I rent a car, and I drive out to near Dayton called Kettering.
Mhm.
My dad's first cousin
Here it comes. Yep.
is still alive. So
okay.
my grandfather was one of 10 kids, and her mother was the 10th kid. My grandfather was the oldest, and they're 21 years apart. So my great grandmother started having kids at age 27 and kept going until 48. Okay.
What?
So my dad is the son of the kid at 27, and her mother is the daughter of. She's the daughter of the girl at 48.
Right.
So it was really cool. Like, she's such a nice lady, and she lives in a retirement home in Kettering, and there were times when she looked so much like my dad. Like I was like crying almost.
Yeah.
My dad's eyes when he got older got kind of like this almond, like the cutout part was very almond shaped. And she had that exact same shape and color.
Right, their eyes looked the
very
same.
similar eyes. And
Right.
then a couple ways she would hold her face, it was like how my dad did. It was really wild.
Yeah.
So she had a bunch of photos. She had a photo of my great grandmother at age 19.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty cool. And then some more pictures of older grandfather people, stuff that I hadn't, great grandfathers, things I hadn't seen before, and some stories and stuff, and was telling me who was the alcoholic in the family and who had troubles and all that. Was like,
those
I
are the
love
stories.
This stuff. I love it. Right. And so we hung out for like 2 hours. She just told me stuff and showed me pictures, and I took pictures of everything.
Oh, good.
And then I drove to Findlay and got ready at the theater. It was me, Al Lubell, and Sean Eli. And Sean did like 10 minutes. He was producing. And then I did like 40 clean, super clean. I didn't even say bitch. I replaced bitch with witch. And let me tell you, when I did that, I was like, I exited my body. And I realized this is not me on stage. This is and I am an apparition watching myself
right.
do a clean version of me.
This is a bird's eye view of you watching you say words that you're like, this isn't how I would say this.
No. And it's not like I'm filthy, but it's more like
you're an adult.
Like, I would like to comment on things, and I can't complain about being clean in front of an audience that wants clean material. Versus when things are like not right and I can complain about it, then I'm very at home and then I'll have a great set. But if I'm sort of like, don't mention it, don't bring it up. And the other thing is I felt like some of the audience wanted it a little dirtier. And maybe it was like two old ladies who run the venue who want, I don't know. I don't know.
It often is, though. It's often like a choice made at a committee level.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but even so, apparently they liked the show. And I'm like, all right, good. I'm glad you liked it. I sold books afterwards, whatever. So then I'm at the hashtag, which is like a little black box. So cute. I love this little theater. It's a little room. I think they hold 65 total. It was sold out. It ended up being sold out. Now, here's what's driving everyone insane. Half the tickets were bought on Saturday afternoon.
Right.
You can't fucking plan things,
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard.
God dang it. That's just the way it is now. It's that unless you're Matt Rife, that's the way it is. It's shit is going to get sold out.
I had a bunch of people came
ahead.
because of my Pandora ad. So.
Oh.
Because I use AMP on Pandora.
Oh, I forgot. I stopped doing that a long time ago. I forgot. And that's a free ad, right?
It's free. And you just have to
Pandora?
say. Yeah, especially people our age. And let me just say that it's you have to start it with, "Hey Pandora, it's me, Jackie Kashian," or whatever your name is. And then you have 15 seconds. It's good.
I think I made a little notes on how to do all that and I just stopped.
But the new rule is that you have to start by saying, "Hey Pandora fans," or "Hey Pandora listeners," something like that.
Okay. All right. So
good show.
Anyway, fun show. And so Hannah, who kind of runs the club, kind of co-owns it. She's a comic and she lives in Columbus, but she comes out to LA. She might move to LA. But I don't know, it's just really cool. I'm like, this is so cool that you started this. Because it does take a lot of energy to run a room. And you take that energy away from your career, but also you're making something really cool in a town that's being held hostage by a funny bone, and you're putting up an alternate venue for people. It's for comics and audiences to go to. It's a lot cheaper. They don't have. I don't think they have I don't know what their beer and liquor license was, but it wasn't like they were making a lot of hard drinks and stuff.
Right.
Then the feature act was Mike Larson, who was a Bay Area comic for a long time. Then he moved to LA and he was a showrunner. He did a bunch of Disney shows and he had a very successful career and then moved to Columbus and he works for the university, but he started doing stand-up again. I bet he, not a la, Dan St. Paul, but, he's, beloved in the community and he's hilarious. He's a great joke writer. So it was really fun show. And
that sounds awesome.
Just a long day of travel the next day. So Sunday, anytime you fly into Ohio and I've done it 2 weekends in a row now, you have some layover someplace. So flew to Las Vegas, then got home to Burbank and left my iPhone on the plane.
That's right.
Right?
Oh no.
So I'm like, fuck. And honestly, every time I have my iPhone, I'm like, I wish I could lose this. I fucking hate this thing. I don't want to be tethered to it. I don't want any of what everything is now. Right.
Right.
But when I was really lost, I was like, God damn it, I'm going to a festival. I need my iPhone. And so I went back because I had to get my luggage because I went on an earlier flight. So my luggage was coming on a later flight. Well, turns out the lady next to me saw my iPhone and grabbed it. Right. So she brought it to Southwest. Turns out that lady, because I got a DM from somebody else, was Lynette Carolla, who's she was married to Adam Carolla. She has I've been on her podcast. We were sitting next to each other on Southwest. I had no idea.
Oh my gosh!
I had my mask on, and I am riveted by the blacklist. I download about 8 of them every time I go on a plane, and I don't look up from it. So I didn't even know I was sitting next to somebody that I spent an hour talking to, and she didn't either because I had a mask on my face. Right. So later, the airport starts saying, "Laurie Kilmartin, we have your iPhone," and that's when Lynette realized that was me.
Did she text you or email you?
Stephanie Wilder Taylor texted me because they have a podcast together.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I know. And she goes, "What are the odds that someone found your iPhone?" I'm not good, but the odds of somebody I did a podcast with found my iPhone pretty high.
Just the sheer numbers in the
Yes.
world of podcasting. Speaking of podcasting, let's take our first break a little bit late.
Yes.
Why don't I do morning radio? Did you hear the intonation of the cadence there? Let's throw it quick, Laurie Kilmartin, to our comic of the week. I worked with her this weekend all over NorCal, which I insisted people refer to as upstate,
No.
and Central California, which also nobody was interested in. But everyone did acknowledge that Crescent City is dumb. Anyway, so I worked, it's Rhea Kubar, I think it was. How am I spelling
Kapur.
that?
Rhea
Kapur with a
Kapur.
P, like Paul,
Yes.
not B like boy. Got it wrong. She was really nice. And she was actually really funny. And I just got her name wrong. But other than that, you guys, it's her name on Instagram, so you should find her because she's super fun and in the Sacramento area, and she's wonderful. What's her handle?
Rhea Kapur at REAKAPUR. Go follow Rhea Kapur.
Yeah, I watched her clips. She's really funny.
She's super funny.
She's great. She's
I love
wonderful.
me a Sacramento comic.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a
good
different
scene.
vibe.
They got a scene.
Oh yeah,
They
they've
got a-
always had a scene. They've always had a little scene.
Yeah, and it's a different scene, and this is the indie half of it that is like, well, if there's not, we're just gonna start making our own stuff, and they're all kind of a little. It feels a little alty, which is kind of nice, and it's a real vibe,
It's different, like the Oakland scene. It's so close to San Francisco. I don't know. That has a different vibe than Sacramento is. It is a small town, but it is the biggest town there in that area.
Sacramento.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a weird, dusty cow town, that Sacramento, California, just chock full of politicians who are the most powerful people in the United States, one of the most richest state in the country. I have to say this: I drove back from Sacramento on Sunday, and I was glad that I drove. Quite honestly, we were talking about me flying, and I had just done so much flying
Oh,
that
I
it was
see.
just nice
Sure.
to not wear a mask and sit in the car and listen to a book on tape and music and call people and pull over whenever I wanted. And
Right.
so that was great.
So when you say book on tape, you mean audiobook, right?
I do. Old
Okay.
school book on tape.
I was like,
is just the
are you
words.
renting CDs?
Some sort of, or some sort of cassette player, and then
Yeah.
sort of wiring it in.
Mhm.
No, I share my brother's Audible account, and so we all work together to give Amazon as little money as possible. And so, but driving back, weirdly enough, and I had slept really good. I had such a good weekend. I ended up hitting a wall when I got through the Grapevine.
Yeah.
I'm 20 minutes from the house. I'm at Magic Mountain, which is whenever I'm at Magic Mountain, I'm like, 20 minutes from home. I'm so close. I almost fell asleep at the wheel. So I genuinely got off and I went, and there was no Starbucks. There has to be a Starbucks, but there wasn't. There was a Burger King where I got an iced coffee. I don't know if I did it wrong, but I said to them, can I get it without sweetener, with just cream or black? And they said, no. We just have the one kind of iced coffee. It's vanilla, and here it is. And I was like, and here's $3. So it had a lot of sugar, and it got me home just fine. And yeah, I came home. I recorded the Dork Forest about the new Daredevil show. So it's full of spoilers this week, you guys. If you're listening to the Dork Forest, I don't know if you know this about Daredevil. It's not going to end well.
Is he blind?
He is.
He is.
Okay. All right.
He is. The Mark Waid run was my favorite, I think.
Jackie, I did go swimming in Columbus at the Columbus Aquatic Center.
Good.
And it was a $1 swim.
That feels solid. Columbus.
Yeah. It was an old pool, and they only had 2 lanes set aside for lap swim, and they were, it was full. And
Oh, was it?
you can't complain. Like when I'm on the road, I let go of all my expectations of a pool. I'm like, let me just
Right.
try to get my yardage in. Whatever it is, it is. I can't control these pools or how they run them,
Nope.
But
You're
once it was
hoping
a
for
dollar,
rectangle.
$1 to get in, I was like, you
Yeah.
don't even have to have water in that pool. That's how
I will just
happy
walk
I
the
am.
length
Yes.
of that pool 70
But I got my
times.
yardage in. They added a couple extra lanes after it got a little more populated.
Okay.
And so, yeah, got my swim
That's
in.
great.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have this bit that works entirely with the rest of the rage stuff. Oh, I did have a very nice breakfast in Mill Valley actually with the guy who's got the label, Dominic.
Benny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was great. It was all about I think I've decided to record the album and film up in Portland, Oregon
Oh, nice.
in November.
Okay.
And
Where?
and so we the Siren.
Okay.
Gonna
Cool.
do 2 shows. And I'm hoping he's got a lineup on several people, a team, he's got a lineup on the team I can hire to film and record.
Oh, cool.
And so we're going to talk more about that as we go, as we get
Economical?
closer here. Well, the economics, I don't know. I mean, if we're lucky, something good happens. There's some possibilities out there. There is. So there's some talk of he's got good connections as
Okay.
well. And different people to direct it. The guy that directed my last 2, he's great, but he's super busy and he's out of Minneapolis.
Oh, Ryan?
So yeah, Ryan.
He's
Yeah,
incredible.
Black Iris.
You
he's
gave
so
him
good.
to me. Yeah. Mhm.
Right. He did the re-edit for
Yes.
you
Yes.
and
Saved
helped save
me.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Save that piece of work. And then yeah, so we talked about that. I've been trying to the guy who did the LA Pet cartoon animation told me that he would animate for money, of course. I would pay him because he has an Oscar-winning animator. So to do the first 10 minutes of my Hero album, and he hasn't replied to me, so I don't know. Like we had lunch and we talked about it, and I was like, "Do you want a down payment?" And he was like, "Let me look at it." And then he got back to me. We talked a little bit, and then I didn't hear from him for a week or so, and so I pinged him, and I haven't heard back. So I mean, it's not. I mean, there's no panic. I'm just saying. I wish it was done yesterday, but that would have meant that I would have had to ask for it 6 months ago. So, that's how animation works. It turns out, it isn't tomorrow.
Well, my son, we looked at doing a semester abroad, and we might do it. He might do it. I want to do it, honestly. Like I want to
Honestly,
enroll
I
in
bet
college,
you would.
and I might.
And you would follow him,
Well,
like back to school.
maybe I'll do it in a couple years after he's no longer associated. Yeah, no, he wouldn't want it. He wouldn't want me there. He wants to be free from me, and that's good. That's healthy.
Yes.
And I
Yeah, it
need
is
to be
healthy.
free from him. I told him, I'm like, if you do this, I'll be alone for the first time in my entire life.
Right. You had one day.
I've had
Didn't you have one day?
one day where I lived alone, but I had no furniture
Well,
because it was a brand new apartment.
And day 2, all kinds of people.
Well, one kind of person.
One kind of
But
person.
still, yeah.
Yes.
Other than that, parents, roommates, boyfriends, mother, son.
Right.
Constant, nonstop. That'll be crazy.
That'll be crazy.
I'll hang out at comedy clubs.
Right.
What do I have to go home to?
The dog?
Yeah, it's true. I'm not going to rush home to Jeremy. I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna network like I should have networked the last 30 years and see what happened. Oh, Charmy just walked in. You heard yourself, huh?
Yeah, you heard yourself get called upon.
Second break.
Okay.
Second break. That's what the kids call it. I did an episode of the Dork Force last week, and the guy that's on tomorrow's episode, or because we're recording this Monday, this week's episode, he's just a fan. He's a fan of the show. He's always wanted to be on, and he had a topic, and I was like, sure. And he goes, so we're recording on Riverside, right? And so at the end of it, I shouldn't hang up right away. And I said, was that in the edit at the end of the show last week? He said, yeah. And I said, well, now you know how to do it. Good for you. And so I didn't tell, I didn't know that, and I didn't tell Patrick Brady to take it out. So little glimpse behind the camera. I'm really looking forward to Moon Tower this week, quite honestly.
Me too.
Because I have several sets, obviously, and then we're doing the Janine Garofalo show, and then we're it's comedy camp. All comedy festivals are comedy
I mean,
camp.
and I'm not doing. Some people are doing big hour theater shows. I'm not. I'm assuming I'm just doing little setlets all over the place, and those are kind of fun. And I can hang out and watch other people. There's really no pressure, and yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Derek Hughes is going to be there. He's a Minneapolis comic who's also a magician.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's Magic Castle guy. He's amazing. He was the guy who said,
I know who
probably
he
10
was.
Oh, you know him?
Yeah,
Like 10
'cause-
years ago. Okay, go ahead.
Well, the first time I headlined at Acme, he was featuring and he pulled cards out of his ass and I had to follow him every night. So yeah, I fucking know who he is, Jackie.
My favorite thing about Derek Hughes is that he said, you know, I want to be like a regular comic. I mean, I don't just want to be this magician who does comedy. And I was like, yeah, but don't throw away the magician part. That is a skill that you had to, I mean, that's a real, like you had to sit in front of a mirror.
Oh, it
for
works. Trust
hours.
me. I heard it work from backstage every night for 6 nights.
Yeah, the guy's incredible too. I mean, he's an incredible magician. And when he stopped doing magic and just doing straight stand-up just to sort of get better at the stand-up part of it, when he put them back together, it works so well. Obviously.
Oh yeah.
He's just really good. Yeah. But I think he was living here and he moved back to Minneapolis. I think him and his wife had a couple of kids and, you know.
Jackie, the more I read about climate change, the more I think Minneapolis is in my future.
Well, it is north. So
you gotta live near the Great Lakes. That's why Trump wants Canada.
Yes.
You know?
That's why he wants Greenland.
Yeah, he wants those minerals because China has the minerals too and is apparently withholding them. I'm on China's side on this. Fuck us over. We deserve it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone should put us down. We're a scourge upon the earth.
Really?
Do whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
And
it's embarrassing.
And it's enormously embarrassing, and we have to figure out how to save these people. So
I mean, there's a lot of regular nice people that are going to be fucked over by all this, which is sickening. But it's our fault, you know?
Yeah. Start to finish, folks.
But Jackie, you are a Made in the USA merch lady from way back, always with your union labels. No one has to tell you to get your merch made in America.
Get this, though. 2 months ago, I bought 200 Bees t-shirts. They're gone.
Nice.
So this is the best-selling shirt I've ever had in my life. So today, I ordered a lot of 300.
Wow.
Because it might bring the price point down a little bit. Because what I do is I amortize it over all the sizes. I get small through 4X. 3X and 4X are actually much more expensive because there's more fabric and stuff. And but I charge the same amount for all of them just because I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to do 1,000. I don't want to do $5 math.
No.
Everybody can pay $30 for a t-shirt.
Right.
I don't know. Last time you were at a concert, they cost $60 for a t-shirt, and I bet you they aren't made in America.
Right.
So, yeah. So, but I don't know how soon I'll get them. I have a lot of 2X's and smalls. It turns out, everybody's a medium, large, or an XL. and or 3X. Weirdly enough, I got 4Xs.
Uh-huh.
The hats are going a little slower because it's coming on with summer.
Sure. Baseball caps?
So, no, I'm not adding.
Okay.
There's
You
no.
could, that could be the summer hat, though.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not doing ball caps. I like ball caps, obviously. Wow, that's a full stop on the show there. I like ball caps. Bam.
I think we've done a very accurate look back at both of our weeks. I am withholding information, but that's
You
'cause
are
I'm
withholding.
very superstitious, and so that's how I'm going to do it. So you know what? There
Right,
you go.
it's you get your lucky socks in a row, and make it all work out for you, and and then we can wait. We can wait.
Of course you can. Yep.
And but I will say that. So I've got this chunk. I'm going to tell you about this pacifism chunk. It finally turned into something separate, and I don't want it to be. I wanted to work with all the other stuff about anger and rage, and for some reason it's got its own punchlines, and I'm like, but it doesn't. Much like the other 2 bits that I'm working on, but now I have until November. It doesn't have a final punchline. It needs a final banana.
Yeah. Well, Jackie, you're closing on 3 bananas apparently now. So, right?
Oh, right. I got 3 bananas. I know.
Maybe it's time for a different fruit. A kiwi.
I got the barrel joke.
Uh-huh.
The barrel joke's good. That barrel joke isn't even the final joke anymore. Someone came up to me and said, "You were talking about the barrel joke. As soon as I heard you say the barrel joke, I was like, oh, set's over." And I'm like, oh no, 2 more dick jokes after that. 2 more dick jokes coming at you hard. I said hard.
Wow. Jackie, save it for Moon Tower. Please. Don't waste it all here.
And we're just going to record it and put it out normal.
Yeah, that's right. That'll be next week's podcast, gang. Jackie,
look
we're
forward to
close
that.
enough, right?
I think so.
We're like 58.
Yeah.
What do you want from us? We're tired.
It's I hope everybody's enjoying the Patreon and the Max Fun and the pins, if you bought pins.
Yeah.
And there's the tiniest of all ads.